I am connecting with a Scorpio who is removing a whole new layer of toxicity. We're talking about clear sight and vision, awakening to the point where you now see. You now see the cynic in you. You now accept that somebody else was right, or that your old approach was right, or that there is a heavier energy in regards to your inner circumference, your inner healing, your inner confidence, your inner shine, and how you can redefine yourself, improve your perception, and simultaneously improve how others view you. When we have serpent philo out, we're talking about layers and layers and layers of toxicity. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Awful sound to make. But philo, like the pastry, flaky, crispy, little bit like puff pastry, so many layers to it because you've got to put butter in between every piece of it, make it oily. I'm telling you this because that's how I work as a neurodiverse clairvoyant with vision. But we're looking at layers and layers and layers and layers and layers of a flaky energy, a toxic energy, and there's this cynic tied to it, which is fascinating as well. And I want to say this is because what has been in your circumference, what have you been attracting, I want to say first and foremost. What you've been attracting hasn't been of the highest caliber because what you've been giving off hasn't been of the highest caliber. Yeah? I know it's mean, and I know that there's been difficult connotations around you and your well-being, your mental health, your eyesight. Your equilibrium has been distorted for some time because you know what health and wholeness is for you. You know what wellness is for you. But the serpent and the leech and the voices and the mind control and the manipulation has consumed your knowing. Because it's one thing to know, it's another thing to do. Consciousness is great, but we still have to actualize it. Do you get what I mean? And when our lives are unfulfilling and we feel low vibrational and we become cynical, yeah, it's because there's a real discrepancy with our yin and yang. Because you are indeed the alien here, listening to the hermetologist, with the yin and yang symbol, with the alien in the middle, right? You're a wild, exuberant, lovely, fun, I want to say gothic a little bit, person, so take that as that resonates. But with the slothful energy, yeah, sloth, procrastination, slow, lackluster, I get somebody here who moves from 1 to 9 very rapidly. This could be a reputation that you have, how people see you. Because it's interesting, the cynic is out with the sloth and the serpent philo, which is that layering of toxicity. But philo's so light, it's illusionary. Because you can pick up a bit of phyllo pastry, crush it in your hands, and it's gone, it's dust forever. So it's the things that you tell yourself, yeah? The position that you've been put in. And it's, yeah, right. Instead of it being you're right and you looking in the mirror going, you're right, you can do this, that self-affirmation, that self-love, it's yeah, right, whatever, no way, get out of here, impossible, bullshit. Blah, blah, blah. No need for that. That's not gonna work. Whatever. Who gives a fuck? Yeah? It's that energy of pessimism instead of optimism. Because the tides have repeatedly turned in a way that have been unfamiliar to what you see as success and possible in your reality. Yeah? Jaded is what I get here. Absolutely jaded by love, by life. because there's somebody else in your reality, okay? And I think this is going to be the most transformative and awakening moment for you in life, because there's somebody in your reality who I believe that you actually look at as the high priest instead of you being the high priest or high priestess. You look at somebody else in a glorified position. You look at somebody else as the Holy Grail. You look at somebody else as having the life that you want, the sun, the wealth, the abundance, and you feel jaded because of that. Begrudging another human being for the holier than thou vibration they exude. But if I'm being absolutely honest with you in the now moment, okay, you're the cynic card and they're the high priest card. Can you see that you also have the sun? Can you see they have the sun and the stardom and the red root chakra? They're incredibly grounded. I do understand this is Trump and it's giving me multiple layers of conversation. So I'm going to try and stay spiritual and not get lost in the Trump sagas of reality. But look how many people hate Trump. Yeah? Look at the views they have around him. But he is sitting in the White House, POTUS, man in charge, making all these changes, doing all these things, glorified to high heaven, screaming he deserves a Nobel Prize when he's starting wars in Iran, stopped the war and created a ceasefire, and now we've had the biggest peace we've ever seen when they started the war. I mean, it's wording, it's propaganda, it's play. Do you get what I mean? And you're quite realistic. In reality, sitting there in a really humble way. You could be really burdened financially and look at someone who is really, really well off and be incredibly pissed off at your financial standing in relation to others. And somebody else could be more distinguished than you, more popular, more spiritual, more well off. You may think they're more attractive than you. You are struggling with the possession. I want to say the possession of your ancestry, the possession of your arts, the possession of your heart. Like, I want to talk about possession in a way I've never spoken about it before. So it gives me a bit of a yin and yang and a bit of a pull for me to have this conversation with you, because I feel like I'm getting dragged to go places I've never been in conversation, and I'm just like, do I go there with you or not, you know? But I feel like my hesitance to do that and then share that conversation with you opens up that can of worms. What is your mind really telling you? What are the voices in your head really saying? Yeah? This leech energy bothers me too, okay? Because I do get when people leech onto you and they rely on you so intently, their voice becomes your voice. I speak about it in the last earth sign reading I do. And I talk about what it means when you're around people who have negative self-talk and speak to you in a negative way. And if there's a lot of people around you that are really cynical and pessimistic, they imprint that vibration onto you quite frequently, and you're low vibes because of that. Yeah? And I just get jaded. And I get jaded over and over again in a way that's not romantic. And I've never had a conversation about someone being jaded in life instead of being jaded in romance. Yeah? So I'm connecting with a Scorpio who is genuinely jaded because life's been really hard for you. And there's been so much toxicity that has consumed you. And obviously, you're neurodiverse, you work in a very optimal way, and you move from the 1 to the 9 frequently. You time travel really frequently, okay? Check out the last Scorpio read. We spoke about time travel over there with the Chariot from Back to the Future card. That was an interesting read. So, the sloth, the procrastination, the slow, the lackluster, that gives me latent learning. I advise you to go and look into what latent learning is. I also suffer with latent learning. It's a situation where You don't move or apply yourself unless there's an absolute need, which means you're high functioning and you function higher and faster than most because you travel from the 1 to the 9 so frequently and rapidly. You're multi-dimensional. So when you travel so quickly and you can do so much in a short space of time, if you don't get any reward at the end, and stay with me when I say reward, I say that loosely, it's not about reward, but it's about accomplishment, it's about achievement, it's about finalizing the project, it's about getting things done. What are you going to do running back from 1 to 9 on a spectrum every fucking fortnight with no return, no outcome? You're just exhausting yourself every single day, and you look at everyone around you and the blank in the fucking face, pessimistic as fuck, don't know what you're talking about, don't understand, can't get the job done. Eventually that sucks away at your aura, your energy, and you start to pull back, and those layers of you that were stable and grounded before now become flaky, now become philo, now become jaded, because you're not getting that fulfillment you need. That's a real issue for children growing up with ADHD and neurodiversity. A real issue for me in school days as a teenager, and why I started smoking marijuana at such a young age, is because of that latency. I cannot continue to operate at this lower vibration when I'm so high functioning. So we're going to have to become a cynic, we're going to have to be overly zealous in life, or we're just going to have to numb the reality, or we become incredibly sloth-like because there's not enough momentum here. Yeah? And the truth of the matter is, your biggest rival is your biggest asset, okay? When you look to somebody else in the way that you're looking at this person, it's beautiful. And I want you to see that, because I want you to change your mind frame and start to look at opposition as an opportunity for a new position in your reality. Yeah? Look at the opposition as an opportunity for you to have a new position. Yeah? We're going to have to start repositioning you to remove all of these skulls around your sun. Can you see them? A lot of dead bodies, a lot of losses, a lot of L's, a lot of ghosts in the mind, yeah? A lot of voices, a lot of manipulation, a lot of low vibration, a lot of clouds. Look at the high priest and look at his surrounded environment. That's why he's the high priest. Look at the power he exudes. Look at the strength in his throat chakra. Look at the confidence he exudes, and look how it spreads outwards. And all these stars represent the star card in tarot to me, and that means he's healing a hell of a lot of people. We can apply this same ideology directly to Trump, as much as me wouldn't want to, right? Credible communication, real strong throat chakra, real incredible root chakra, yeah? Real incredible halo in the community he comes from. He's going to be he's going to be seen and reign supreme forever now after what he's been through, being shot in the air, this war situation, the way it's played out, the way he spins the news, the propaganda of it all, the way that he uses the audience and listens to what people want. They voted for this. That what we have now in life is what they voted for, and they have it. He knew his audience, he knew what they wanted, he stuck to it. He's been speaking about Iran since the start of time. He had his agenda, he's come in and he's already done it, and he really gloats and really makes such big noise about him and what he's doing, and that works in his favour. And if we look at that in relation to, yeah, right, can we see the opposition and the opposing construct, the cynic of it all and the sloth of it all, versus the high flying, vibrant, unjaded, secure, root chakra grounded, strong throat chakra, powerful healing capabilities that spread out. Yeah, much to learn from the high priest. This is where you give people their roses and you give people their flowers even when you don't want to. Yeah. So this could be a mentor, a father figure, someone in your life. We're using Trump as the example because of the card, but obviously this is different for all of you guys. And the slothful energy, I want to tie that to latency and slowing down and boredom and lack of fulfillment in life and sadness, maybe a lack of money as well, financial struggle here. Yeah. And being in the grey. I like the fact that you're green with envy and jaded at the core of it all. That's the real thing we've got to look at and understand. And it's easy for you because the moment we bring that to the conscious and you go, fuck, I am really bitter, really jealous, really jaded, really in my feelings, really pissed. There we go. Get it out, heal. Pull that shit up out of your that psychic attack and that spiritual vomit out of you. Remove it, because we identify it and we surrender. We give it back to the divine, light or dark, wherever it came from. We surrender that, and then that can clear up this lackluster reality we live in. When I'm feisty and I'm rude and I'm bitching and I'm swearing and I'm cussing, it's because lackluster is surrounding me, and I'm pissed about it. Fuck this, fuck that, nah. I start having a bitch and a moan because the level of unfulfillment is now unfathomable for me to move through. I've got to break free. Yeah? And that's why whoever you're looking at is in this position, see, because they're showing you there's another way for you. Can you transmute this serpent philo energy that you're in and remove the slothful from your circumference? And fall into being, because you're not this high priest energy, you're the emoji in the middle. You're funny, you're wild, you're free, you're goofy, you're silly, right? I get you have an apparatus. You have a very important apparatus. You're being asked to start again, okay? Root chakra, sacral chakra, solar plexus chakra. You're being asked to start again. You're being asked to go right back to the start of Maslow's hierarchy of needs and go right back to your chakras 1, 2, and 3, lower chakras. And you're being asked to look at them again. I'm going to do some work on them on her 7D Consciousness channel over the next month. So go over there and hit the bell. Get ready to be notified. It will be the next video I make over there, because you are now the second Zodiac to pull up with some serious chakra problems in the lower chakras from the root, sacral and solar plexus. If you want to know more about that story, go and check out the Gemini reading. They are also now going through a root chakra healing, and they are going to do some Maslow hierarchy of needs and root chakra work. That is their homework. So go over there and listen to that reading if you do have time and want to know more. Very interesting spiritual story they went through over there as well, and they were being guided by a very dark source which they believed was light. Yeah, so that's it from me today. I hope that found you well, and I hope that you take some time to meditate and sit with yourself. And I want you to ask yourself a really, really important question, okay? The question can be of your own choosing. What is your own hypothesis, yeah? I want you to go in on yourself a little bit, and I want you to go, what degree of me is still in the dark and jaded and resentful and bitter and angry and venomous? And what is this resentment I have towards this person, this group, this ecosystem, or towards myself? Yeah? What am I seeing and saying to myself? What am I seeing and saying to others, in my mind at least? Because there is this cynic, and it's the fastest way to lose numbers, friends, family, followers, when you exude that energy. But that energy often only comes up when other people are around you in that vibration, supporting that narrative. So whether you taught other people to be just as cynical as you, and now you've got a whole cynical crew, none of you are going to go nowhere with that mind frame long term, right? You're going to keep looping back to the same scenario, because you have to break the curse. Because, I mean, in my head, I'm getting the vision of, instead of building your house on, or building a house of cards, you're building a stack of philo. And the philo is going to crash and crumble and flake and collapse. So you have to remove the toxicity. And it's always in you. It's never in anyone else. It's always us. I promise you now, it's you. Yeah? I know we can blame the external world. It is you in relation to your world. Because this is your world. Do you know that? Do you know that this is your planet? Do you know that you have control, absolute control and ownership over your reality every day? You do. I promise you do. But if you don't see that, you don't feel that, you don't tell yourself that, you don't hear that, you don't receive that, you will never believe that. So you have to reinforce that self-talk, and you have to be that epitome of excellence, healing, reward, benefit, yeah? Wit, charm, grace. You need to be everything that you want to see in the world. That's been my quote for a long time. When I see quotes that I love, I stick by them. Be the change that you want to see in the world. Since 2016, I had that like stuck on a wall, and I just used it all the time. So when I'm met with resistance and difficult scenarios, I just remember that I have to be that change. It starts with me. And has my life been incredibly shit because of that choice? Yeah. Horrendous. Depressing. Many times I want to give up. Many times I've been jaded. But do I give up? No. Do I keep going? Yeah, because that's all there is for me. There's nothing else. And that's for every single person on the planet. There is only one way. Your way. And that's a bit of a toxic thing to say in relation to the fucked up people in this world, because yeah, I am implying that every single person in this world has to go their way and do their thing and live their life and exist in their unique reality. And some of those realities are fucking twisted. And some of those people will end up behind bars. And that's what makes the rest of us scared. The pure and the light. Because God forbid we really start showing up with all of this beauty and grace. And if you're a 1 to 9er, right, which I want to call you, which is weird, we'll have to explain that at some point. But if you're a 1 to 9er, and that means you move through dimensions, yeah? And you've also got 777, so you're really part of the 7D. You are integrating this stuff deeply into your life, you know? So you have to choose. You have to choose to look at every aspect of you and put complete and utter ownership on you. You have to change your mind frame. You have to reinforce your mental health with the support systems in place to prop you up so you keep saying and doing the right things and feeling the right vibrations that are going to help you accelerate and move from that 1 to 9 as rapidly as you need to. You need to consider who is around you in close quarters and close proximity and what they give off to you energetically in each and every moment. And are they indeed evolving with you at the rate in which you need to remain successful? Because that is exactly what the high priest is doing. The high priest has become this way. And the high priest, this gives me left and right as well. We are leaving, but the left and the right here. In personality and persona, it's like the far left do this, the far right do that. Such different energy, such different personality. Like we hold this the most high and we do these things. There's a lot of resentment from people on the left towards the people on the right because they appear to be more powerful, rich, well off, and they get away with a lot more. So our communities stay jaded. And we stay down and out, we stay broke, we stay penniless, we stay struggling, and we stay protesting and bitching and moaning. Is there another way? Is there an intermediary? Is there a grey area we haven't quite seen? Can we break the illusion? It's not about hate, it's about understanding, it's about intelligence, it's about knowledge. And I want you to look at that from any aspect of somebody who seems to live a better life than you because they just chose what you would say is the easy route or the toxic way to go because they're living in a way that you wouldn't agree with. They're doing things that you don't stand by, and your ethical principle, your morals and integrity have led you down this serpent feeler route. So we got to look at that because yeah, morals and integrity are great. But when it turns you into a serpent feeler, we got problems because what are morals and integrity when wrapped in jealousy and envy, and slothism. And that's what I want to say more than anything when it comes to the left, and that's rude. I know who I used to be when I was like, money is so irrelevant, I don't even like to touch money, I am free and I live without nothing, and I live off the earth and I'm one with nature, and I am a spiritualist, and that is that. I work for free, I do charity. I know who I was with that energy and how much I was rewarded from spirit and the divine for obeying the divine law. I feel that. But there comes a point in our career as we do evolve and grow, and if we want to be and become more, well, we have to look into the grey areas where we are lacking and struggling. And I never want to look at a high priest or anyone in a higher position than me with envy. So anytime I feel jaded because somebody else appears to have a better reality than me, I must look at me. Do I want that then? Do I want to be like that? What is it about them that then's triggering me? Let me look at that. So what qualities do they exude that I admire then? Because hate and love are the same on the spectrum, just different ends. So there's a part of you that would desire to be loved or like that, or seen like that, or feel that. Or there's something you love tethered to that. You love their grounding, you love their communication style, you love their network, the amount of people that they can heal and help. So would you desire that for yourself, honestly? In your own unique way? How do we flourish that? Purposefully for you. Because you're definitely not them, but you're definitely not this cynic. And we go through 40 days and nights for a reason, of course we do. And that's what turns us into the serpent philo. But then we need to come out. And slothism energy now is the hanged man energy too. So when do we come out of hangman and awaken and realise that we need to shake the toxicity off, and that it starts with us and comes from us, and we need to action. Light source, light language, light transmission, light code, and live by that. Honour that. And own the heavier sides of you, yeah? All of my content over here, you'll hear me talk deeply about my darker tendencies and the negative stuff I do, because it heals me the moment I acknowledge it. And when I share it with the collective, my throat chakra is liberated, because I own that I am not great, and I'm not perfect, and I'm not this magical light being of only goodness. There is more to all of us, and it's allowed to be seen. Yeah? Don't punish yourself, but prosper, knowing that you've previously been punished. Yeah? Love and light, Scorpio. I'll be back soon with more.